Yo gamers, what is up? Slifer back yet again with another deck profile. Today, we're touching back up on a little bit of a class, something I'm known for. I'm known as the best Metaphys duelist in the world. So I got my updated Metaphys list for this July, 2019 ban list. Bada bing, bada boom. Not that that matters too much, but it's been a while since I talked about Metaphys. I like Metaphys. I wish this deck the best in the future, and I hope it does, explode at some point. That'll be real fucking sweet. Anyways, let's get right on into it. Starting off, we just got 2 Ash, still standard hand trap bullshit. 3 copies of Daedalus, so if it's special summoned by a Metaphys monster effect, you can banish all other face-up special summon monsters on the field. And if it's banished during the standby phase of the next turn, you can shuffle it into the deck, then banish the Metaphys card except for Daedalus. 26-15. Daedalus is a really strong motherfucker for no reason. Daedalus is probably the strongest card in the deck, so I like to max out on him. Next up, we got 3 copies of Decoy Dragon, whose Pendulum effect and Monster effect pretty much do the same thing. So if a monster is targeted for an attack, you can target one of your Metaphys monsters that is banished, or in your graveyard, banish him, and then special summon that monster and attack. So basically, you get the proc Daedalus or a Metaphys, whatever the fuck you want, if they're targeted for an attack. And the monster effect is, when your monster is targeted for an attack, target one of your Metaphys monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Blah blah blah, banish this card, and if you do, special summon that monster in attack position during the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can special summon this card. So, it's always gonna come back. It's pretty much always a Metaphys back and forth, back and forth. I feel like Decoy Dragon's a very good one to max out on. 3 copies of Metaphys, so if it's special summoned by a Metaphys monster, you banish all set spells and traps on the field. If it is banished, you can shuffle it into the deck during the next standby phase to add a Metaphys card, except for Metaphys. Metaphys is a beautiful, beautiful card. By the way, none of them are once per turn, it looks like, besides Decoy Dragon's little meme effect. But, neither Daedalus or Metaphys are once per turn, so keep that in mind. Ragnarok, 3 of him. He's your normal summon. He's also one of your good, playmakers, sort of. So if he's normally special summoned, banish the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, he gains 300 attack for each Metaphys card that you banish that way. And when he inflicts damage to your opponent, you can special summon 1 level 5 or higher Metaphys monster from your deck, but it's banished during the end phase of the next turn. So once again, if you luck out and you banish 3, he's 2400, he can beat over shit really fucking easy. And he just needs to do a little bit of damage. That's all he needs to do, and then you can bring out any of your big dudes, and just proc all these dumb effects and be God mode, pretty much. Last Metaphys monsters we play is 2 copies of Tyrant Dragon, so if he's summoned by a Metaphys monster, he's unaffected by trap effects. And also, if it attacks a monster, it can make a second attack in a row. And if he's banished, you can shuffle him into the deck to special summon a Metaphys monster from your hand, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. We only play 2 of him, mainly because the secondary effect is the one that we're going to want to proc out the most for pretty much all the Metaphys. And this is probably the weakest. It's still very good, but you don't really want them in your hand too much. You want them banished and you want them in your deck. So 2, maybe even 1 going forward. I think 2 is very fine though. And the last monster we play is, of course, the standard double Necroface, still super powerful, banishing it off of Gold Sark. Instant 5 cards banished from both players' decks. If you hit that other Necroface, that's 5 more cards. Your opponent's just down 10 cards. Necroface, very, very strong stuff. And if you do Gold Sark it and you get it back, and just normal summon it, shuffle all that stuff back, and he swings for big boy damage. Come to 3, Necroface. Please. Moving on to the spells, we got 3 copies of Ace and Metaphys. So once per turn, you can banish a Metaphys card from your hand, and if you do, we'll draw 1 card. And once per turn, if your Metaphys card is in its owner's possession is banished, depending on whose turn it is, you apply a certain effect. If it's your turn, all monsters on the field lose 500 attack and defense except for Metaphys. And if it's your opponent's turn, you change the battle position of all monsters on the field except Metaphys. Still very, very good. I see maxing out on this at 3 is a very nice, easy upstart goblin sort of thing. Also not once per turn, technically. They're not hard once per turn, they're soft once per turn. So if you have 3 of this, you can do it 3 times. Very good stuff. Until, more consistent methods get about, I say maxing out on ASIMs is pretty good. And changing battle positions doesn't matter too much, but sometimes it could still hurt. Here's one that people don't talk about. We got 2 copies of Crossbait. I used to play this at 3, but I cut it down to 2. So you banish 2 monsters from your hand or face-up field with the same original type and attribute with different names, and then you add a monster with that same type and attribute, but a different name from those from your deck to your hand. So basically, let Chatomate here, banish these 2, search this one. It's just another simple consistency booster that also helps accelerate the deck, but I could also see cutting this down to 1, because it is like a neg-3. 1, 2, 3, you get 1 back. It's a neg-2. It's a neg-2 to search 1 card, but in this deck, it can help set up your shit. So I see running it at 2 is fine. 1 copy of Deep Fissure, any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Pretty standard stuff. Gold Sark, I miss you at 3, buddy. Fuck Thunder Dragons, I guess. Then we got 3 copies of Metaphys Factor, so each turn you can summon a level 5 or higher Metaphys. You can normal summon a level 5 or higher Metaphys once per turn without tributing, but it's banishing during the end phase of the next turn. And then your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to your Metaphys monster's effect activations. This card is still very, very strong, despite being a common for a pack filler archetype. Metaphys Factor is a very good field spell, I believe. And last plus, my spell we play is 3 Pot of Extravagance because we don't need our extra deck at all. It's nice to have, but we really don't need it. Moving on to the traps, we got 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, 1 copy of Macaro Cosmoso. Pretty good stuff. Now we got 3 copies of Ascension. So Ascension is another very, very good consistency booster, but they had to make it a fucking trap. That's the problem. So you discard a Metaphys card, draw 1 card, then you can banish 1 Metaphys monster from your deck. If this card is banished, you add a Metaphys card from your deck to your hand, except Ascension. And you can only use 1 of the effects per turn, only once that turn. They realize that if they let you proc both of these effects on the same turn, this card would be disgustingly busted. You can banish this off of Asim, draw 1 card, search any other Metaphys that you need. I don't see any other way you could play this card without maxing out on it. Despite it being a trap, Ascension is just really, really good. A very, very good consistency booster for this fucking deck. And the last cards we play is 2 copies of Dimension. So if your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, target 1 of your banished Metaphys monsters, special summon it, banish it during the end phase of the next turn. And if your other Metaphys card in its owner's possession is banished while this card is face up on the spell and trap zone, target a card your opponent controls, banish it. Only use each effect once per turn. Blah blah blah. Free cards out when your opponent tries to gain advantage. You get yourself some dumb shit. I wish this effect was on one of the monsters. It kind of is with the Decoy Dragon, but that involves attacking, so it's a little bit slower and can honestly easily be played around. Decoy Dragon should have procced off of being targeted for an effect as well, but then he would be stupid powerful, and probably would have been worth more than that common slot they handed him. But yeah, I still see 2, maybe 1 now that it's a lot more searchable, but 2, it's still a very, very powerful card for the deck. Onto the extra deck. Most of it's just kind of filler stuff, but there's a couple of things, like mostly the synchros that are, pretty good stuff that you can play in the deck, no problem. We got 1 copy of Angel of Zero, so he's a very old boy. 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuners. Gains 100 attack for each of your opponent's banished cards, and they're in the standby phase the next turn after it was banished, you special summon him. So, I put this card in here when Snow was at 3. And I played Brilliant Fusion in this deck in a 60-card Metaphys build because I was a fucking savage. I love this deck, alright? I want to see this deck win Worlds one day. It's such a cool gimmick, I love it. And Angel of Zero was just one little cornerstone of that piece of pie. 1 copy of Borrelord Savage. Little known fact, Ragnarok is Eltuner. Who's your other level 4? Necroface. Pretty cool stuff. It's not hard at all to get a fuck ton of monsters out on the board with this deck. So, getting your shit out and then just going savage into Savage Dragon after, a long-winded bullshit play is pretty cool. 1 copy of Omega. Again, he's a level 8 synchro that you can make off of this dude. And probably you're going to be side decking, some Gammas or something. Maybe even main decking them if you feel like. It's pretty cool stuff, but Soul Absorption deck. Moving on to more some standard stuff. We got Napaloosa, 2+ monsters, different names. Lad, very strong girl. 1 copy of Soldier of Chaos. Just needs a level 7 or higher to make his effect good. so you can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And wouldn't you look at that, we have 1, 2, 3 monsters that are level 7 or higher that are really easy to get out to bring this dude out. So I think Soldier of Chaos is really good. You can also banish your own shit if you really have to, which is kind of cool. The Boral Twins. This is one I might have to explain a bit. These are also all worms, ladies and gentlemen. So you got one copy of Shaman of Tenyi. Discard a card, target a worm monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Pretty much just another thing up to stack into another link or something. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. Can't summon for extra deck for the rest of the turn except 10 monsters. You know. It's just me. I like funny little stuff like that. 2 worms, bring back a worm from grave. It's pretty cool. 2 Hippo Shenanigans, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, 1 Lamphalinkus, 1 Avramax, and then 1 Lambda for those, you know, Gammas, Epsilons, Deltas, Betas, whatever the fuck you want to play. Man. Metaphys. I want this deck to be good so bad. I want this deck to have a nice showing at a YCS or something, or even just at like a regional, and I want this to be a deck that's talked about. I miss it so much when I was able to play this full power with triple Gold Sark, triple Snow, triple Brilliant Fusion with the Predaplants, 60 cards with some grass. Oh, those are the days before Decoy Dragon, before Ascension, when I had to make a meme decks. Oh, those were wild times. I played what do you call it? Left arm offerings. I maxed out on left arm offerings because I was like, hey, these cards don't care if they're banished. I'll get them back. Here's my funny story of the day. One time I played this deck, I banished my whole deck turn 1, I got it all back turn 2. It was fucking crazy. Long story short, I love this deck. I want it to do good. I have hopes for it in the future. Right now, if you're lucky, you'll top a local. It's really annoying to play against when you watch your opponent just like sit there and fucking banish their whole deck, and you're like, what are you doing? And then during their next turn, they're like, alright, cool, Daedalus, banish all these special summon monsters, and then they scoop, and they're like, huh, why is that card a rare? I don't know, man, it's good, right? Anyways, that's gonna be it. I'm starting to ramble. Check us out on TCGPlayer, Sora Online, shops open Thursdays and Fridays, trying to get this stock updated, you know. Like, subscribe, Slifer Duelist forever, we will be seeing you. Peace.